I've got 10 seconds, Minister. The Jocelyn Smith Foundation, have you paid over your salary to it? Has it been registered?
Now, what I've done is that every month I pay my salary to a charity while they are busy with it. I didn't think it will take so long to register it. I thought you just walk in, you raise the foundation. It doesn't work like that. But any journalist is welcome to come to me personally, and I'll show them exactly which charities I have supported.
All right. That's a separate issue, Minister. The fact of the matter is the money that is being paid for a stake, and comparing the size of the stake in that deal and this deal, and the fact that we are getting paid less than New Zealand was paid for a 60%, for a 6% stake, surely that already raises questions.
It did raise questions, hence I wrote the letter. I'm not agreeing with the deal. I'm just saying that you have to compare to something locally. You know, if you look at the Springbok brand, we love the Springboks. But let's be honest, the New Zealand brand is bigger in the world than the Springbok brand. Hence, the Springboks want to do this deal because we are big in South Africa, but we don't have world appeal as the Springboks.
We don't have world appeal? No, the Springbok doesn't have world appeal?
Compared to the All Blacks, we don't. Let's just be honest about it. I love this.
Guys, so Minister McKenzie has actually come under fire again for the issue with donating his salary to this Jocelyn Smith Foundation. You know that Jocelyn Smith is a kid who was actually kidnapped in South Africa by what the courts are now slowly establishing to be masterminded by her own parents. I think her mother, or probably her mother and the mother's boyfriend or something like that. So the whole case is actually still now in the court, going through a really rigorous process. And Minister McKenzie actually pled that, you know, most of his salary will be going to that foundation and all that. But, you know, there's been a lot of fire. He's been under a lot of fire lately because the foundation isn't set up in any way. And, you know, people are really wondering if he's really donating his salary, as he stated earlier on, to this foundation. And so he has come out, you know, with full force to really defend the fact that he's donating his salary to charities. And
there's so many things that I want to touch on. So your views on reports that SA Rugby intends to sell allegedly a 20% stake of the Springboks commercial rights to a private equity company, Ackley Sports Group. Your thoughts on that particular deal?
Well, you know, I've met the Ackleys a few months ago. I have looked at the deal, and I told them first, just looking at the structure of this deal before I go, I wouldn't agree with the deal in its current format. Well, how could you, there's no South Africans in this deal. I said to Saru, this is wrong. They then said, let's give them 30 days. After 30 days, they came back. They assured me, we now have South Africans in the deal. Now, there's a whole lot of noise currently regarding the deal. I then got letters from the federations, the unions, asking me to intervene. Can I please speak to Saru? I then wrote Saru a letter to postpone the vote for a yes or no of this deal. I asked them nicely. They responded in kind and said, we will do so, Minister. We will give you what you're asking us for. We have until, I think, the 6th of December, and then we're putting it again to a vote. But what I'm saying in the meantime, you can't say a deal is bad if you have nothing to compare it to. All these billionaires and all these companies that's complaining about the deal, put another deal there. Put another deal better than an Ackley deal. We will be mad to accept the Ackley deal if there is another deal. But you can't say
if you just look at the Ackley deal, Minister McKenzie, if you look at what happened with NZR and with the All Blacks, a few years ago, they sold a 6% stake, and they were paid around $130 million. And now you compare the South African deal, where we're talking about a 20% stake, and how much are they trying to pay us for that?
Yeah, but here's the issue, 1.2 billion. But here's the issue. Let's go back to what you're saying with the NZ deal. That money is just not coming from New Zealand, and people don't talk about that. New Zealand is waiting for the money. It's not flowing the way that they expected it to flow.
Yes, but that's a separate deal, that's a separate issue, Minister. The fact of the matter is the money that is being paid for a stake, and comparing the size of the stake in that deal and this deal, and the fact that we are getting paid less than New Zealand was paid for a 60%, for a 6% stake, surely that already raises questions.
It did raise questions, hence I wrote the letter. I'm not agreeing with the deal. I'm just saying that you have to compare to something locally. You know, if you look at the Springbok brand, we love the Springboks. But let's be honest, the New Zealand brand is bigger in the world than the Springbok brand. Hence, the Springboks want to do this deal because we are big in South Africa, but we don't have world appeal as the Springboks.
We don't have
Commercial
world appeal?
No,
The Springbok doesn't have world appeal?
Compared to the All Blacks, we don't. Let's just be honest about it. I love the Springboks, but compared to the, if you ask anybody, everybody knows the haka, everybody knows that, and that's what we are trying to achieve with the Springboks. You cannot sit here and tell me that the Springboks, we play better than the All Blacks, but in world brand commercial appeal, the All Blacks are bigger than the Springboks currently, and we hope to change that. But here's the issue. I am agreeing with you that I think the SARU could get more. I think that the deal needs to be relooked. But I'm also saying, everybody that's complaining, put another deal on the table. You know, if there's only one buyer at the auction, the price of that buyer will go. So my plea is for every billionaire in this country has complained about this deal. So I'm saying SARU is near bankrupt, like all the other federations or rugby unions around the world. Most of them, 90% of them, are facing financial distress. I'm saying, put a better deal on the table. I have managed to postpone this arrangement. So I'm challenging all the companies, all the business people that complain. I feel you. But put a deal on the table so that we can compare to something.
All right. I just want to move quickly to the arts as well in terms of what's been happening. You spoke about intervention at the School of Arts, but artists, of course, themselves also going through the most, struggling to keep head above water. And in that regard, you know, talk to us about your interventions there and what is top of mind for you.
I think the first thing is that, you know, artists in this country, it's an injustice and it's a huge indictment that artists are not being seen as workers. You know, that's the first thing I hope to change together with my counterparts in cabinet, that you cannot have artists not being recognized as workers. And the second thing is with the Copyright Amendment Bill. We told the president just to wait a bit before he signs, because you cannot have things like fair use. How do you have fair use of somebody's work? We need to get those clauses out. I think those clauses were sneaked in there by the people that have been exploiting artists to say fair use for the work of the artist. Because once you say fair use, you say if you go and buy a burger and you must pay the fair amount. No, you must set your price as an artist. And then what we want to do, you know, the uncomfortable truth about South Africa and it's our nightlife and our entertainment life has really died. And then it's in a coma, it's in ICU. And we need to rescue that. We need to make sure we bring back the good times in South Africa. We need to bring back concerts. Our people are hungry for concerts, hence they have got Chris Brown selling out two stadiums, two nights in one stadium, and 90,000 seater.
But what about our theatres, Minister? Because they are struggling.
I'm coming to that one.
They're struggling.
I'm coming to that one. I went to go sign the, you know, the UAE is really leading when it comes to the arts currently. They've taken a bold decision. They've built buildings for the arts, new museums. They've got the Museum of the Future in Dubai. They've really invested. And we went to go look at what are they doing and how are they doing it. And I came back from there realizing that our art, all our museums are outdated. Our museums are still steeped in 1964. You know, that's why it doesn't attract young people. We are now in the process of changing the boards, bringing new boards that will come in with fresh ideas to make sure that our museums become sexy for young people to visit, basically. You know, at the moment they see it as boring. It's not something, but when you go to things like the Museum of the Future, where they mix the art with technology, and that's the direction that museums are taking around the world.
Okay.
They need to be more creative. So yeah, we are serious about the museums.
We are fast running out of time, Minister. I need to put two questions to you. Firstly, the spinning. that you announced a few weeks ago. So this particular issue, the question has been, spinning has been there, but in terms of the board that has been appointed and also spinning as a sport, is that a formal structure, and how much has been paid to them as of yet?
Well, firstly, when you do development of something, everybody's interim. So the boards that have been put there is interim boards, because you have to start somewhere. It's interim boards. There's people with expertise. We've got lawyers there. We've got the chartered accountants there. We've got people that know the sport of spinning. So that's a temporary board that has been put there. We haven't given them 1 cent. We intend to give them 5 million development funding, so that the sport mustn't become an elite sport. Only the people that can afford cars.
Got you there. I've got 10 seconds, Minister. The Jocelyn Smith Foundation, have you paid over your salary to it? Has it been registered?
No, what I've done is that every month I pay my salary to a charity while they are busy with it. I didn't think it will take so long to register it. I thought you just walk in, you raise the foundation. It doesn't work like that. But any journalist is welcome to come to me personally, and I'll show them exactly which charities I have supported.
All right.
Was myself.
Perfect. We'll leave it there.
I found a really interesting report on Times Live, and several news outlets anyway carry this story on how, he argues that he's not stealing his own salary from anyone. All right. So the title of this report says McKenzie defends donating more than 400,000 rand of his salary amid unregistered foundation saga. So it says that Sports, Art and Culture Minister Gaten McKenzie has defended how he has been spending his salary after pledging to donate his entire parliamentary salary to the Jocelyn Smith Foundation, established in honor of a 6-year-old Saldanha Bay girl who went missing. All right. So it said that on Sunday, Gaten McKenzie issued a detailed statement clarifying that he has donated 467,575 rand of his 478,950 rand salary since June to various organizations, including the Kagiso Art Gallery and also the Spinning Organization and charities. McKenzie speaking in quote, he says, "In the first months of my term, we have focused on the work of the department and the ministry, and I have used the salary to fund worthy causes close to my heart. And the money has actually truly been making a difference. I have not used a cent of it for myself, and I don't intend to. Let's be clear on that," he said. The minister faced accusations from other political parties which alleged he had exploited Jocelyn's case as a campaign tool during the recent elections. The Jocelyn Smith Foundation does not yet exist, says Gaten McKenzie. He's also saying, because we want to make sure that we get it right and don't just do it to please members of other political parties who thinks this matter has anything to do with them. It is a private, personal matter relating to my own funds and what I choose to do with my money. I am not stealing my own salary from anyone, says, people. That's what he said. He's also speaking. He says, to rush into the creation of any foundation would be a mistake. And the obvious fact that it has not yet been registered does not mean that I have gone back on my undertaking to not benefit from my ministerial salary. He's still speaking. He says, we will continue to use the money to do good, with or without the foundation. Once the foundation is set up, we will also have to make sure that it will enhance the good work being done and not distract from it. When we interview for the directors, we will need the right people to ensure that the foundation and its work can outlive me someday, said McKenzie's statement. So Minister McKenzie's initial pledge to donate his salary to the Jocelyn Smith Foundation was made in July with the goal of supporting missing children. Though the foundation has not yet been registered as a non-profit organization, McKenzie assured that he has not yet spent a single cent of his salary for personal gain. That's really a lot. Since June, I think they were sworn in June after the elections in May, he says he has not spent a dime of his salary being paid from taxpayers' money because he feels that he owes South Africa a lot, and he has actually, done a lot of harm to many people in South Africa, especially during the times when he was in jail and the events that led to jail. So for him, this is kind of like a retribution reparation. This is kind of like penance that he's actually paying back to South African society, and as a result, he doesn't intend to even benefit from anything from his salary, as sports minister. So that's really heavy. With final words here, he says that when I became a minister, I declared that I would not benefit from my salary and that I would spend it on funding Jocelyn Smith Foundation, which was yet to be set up at that time. So this is where Gaten McKenzie's story as regards his salary is, and also the brawl you could hear from the interview he had with this journalist on the issue with the Springboks and all that. He's really passionate in seeing the Springboks become a really global brand, you see, but that branding really would demand a lot of investment and all that, and he's really not angry per se, but he's challenging the billionaires in South Africa not to really throw away any sort of like proposals from external funders, so to speak, but at the same time they should tailor in their own investment and let the Springboks grow to a really globally appealing brand that can really push South Africa's image into a much more positive global light. So these are kind of like the nuances Gaten McKenzie is really pushing from the perspective of sports to really push South Africa and really motivate South Africans to see their country as larger than how they see it, despite all the problems that are engulfed the nation as we speak. But anyway, I don't know, what do you guys think about this interview with this journalist? Share your thoughts in the comments.